Hello and welcome back to the Joyful Soul Creates. For today's video I am doing a collaboration with Maaike from Cards by Maaike. If you have found my video from her video, then thank you for dropping by. If you've not yet seen her video, there will be a link to that down below, so be sure to go over and check how she interpreted our theme. The theme we are going with is mermaids, so we have both made mermaid cards, and I am using mostly products from Skull and Cross Buns, who I recently joined the design team for. So these are products that were sent to me as part of my design team responsibilities. So I'm starting by using the large mermaid stencil, and I'm going to put Tombow monomulti liquid glue all over the back of the stencil. This glue dries tacky, so it will be repositionable once it's dried. You can tell it's dry once it is clear. So I'm just going to go over all the areas of the stencil with the liquid glue so that it will hold in place when I put it on my card and that it won't be moving when I'm ink blending. Once I've got the glue all over, I do kind of tap it a bit with my finger just to thin it out and spread it over the various areas, which will help it dry a bit quicker as well. I will then set it aside to dry, and whilst it's drying I had a look through my stash of items that I've previously coloured and not yet used. So I had a couple of Lawn Fawn Mermaids which I thought would work for this card, so I chose them and I picked one of them in particular and then fussy cut it out whilst the stencil was drying. I'm going to be pairing it with this jumbo anchor embellishment from Skull and Cross Buns, and this is, I think it was pastel purple, the colour I have. I will double check that and have it listed in the description below where all the products used are listed. So then my stencil has dried. Then I have placed it directly on my card base and I'm going to start ink blending over it. I am using Distress Oxides for my ink blending, and I'm starting with Mermaid Lagoon down in the bottom right hand corner and blending that out so that it's strongest in the corner and getting paler as it goes out. Then I'm going to bring in my second colour, which is Cracked Pistachio, and I will go over the line where the Mermaid Lagoon ended and blend up towards the top of the card. And I'm not quite covering the whole card, I'm blending out to get paler as I go further up, and it will just gradually blend out to white. And I have sped this up so that you don't have to watch in real time because it did take a little while to get the blending done. At one point I carefully peeled up my stencil to check how the blending was looking, and then I went back in over the join between the two colours. I went back and forth between each of the colours, swapping blending tools and just working at it until I was happy with the transition. I wanted to add some splatters, and I decided because mermaids are kind of fantastical, there should be some shimmer involved. So I have a spray bottle of water and I'm just putting a little Perfect Pearls, and these ones are the pearl colour. So I'm putting just a tiny bit into my bottle of water. I will mix it up and then give it a very good shake with the lid tightly screwed back on, and this allows me to make my own shimmer spray or shimmer spritz, and you can see just how shimmery that is. It does separate when left, so before using it next time I will need to give it a good shake again. So I spritzed that all over my panel. I left the stencil in place for doing this, and then I took just a piece of kitchen paper or kitchen towel just to blot up the water, and I'm just carefully rubbing over this. It did give a very pretty impression on the kitchen paper actually, but I didn't keep that. I don't think I would end up reusing it for anything. So then I was able to remove my stencil, and there are some little bits of glue that stuck to the card base rather than the stencil, so I'm just going in with my adhesive eraser to remove these, and they come up very nicely. It doesn't leave any marks or anything on the card base. I find this adhesive eraser very useful for things like this, and this shimmer on it is quite subtle, but it is there. I also noticed that in the bottom right corner some of the ink had got on the very edge of the card base, so I'm just using my sand eraser just to lift some of that back up. It doesn't remove it completely. I think I'd waited too long before doing it, but it does remove the worst of it so it's not too obvious. I'm going to add a sentiment, and this sentiment is from Skull and Cross Buns Quirky Sentiments stamp set, and I stamped it a couple of times to make sure it was nice and black. I did find that it didn't get properly blank where it overlapped with the mermaid scale. It was fine on the white portions, but on the ink blending it didn't quite take. I'm not sure if it's because of the oxides or because of the shimmer spritz, but it looks good enough. I added some more sparkle by going back over my Lawn Fawn Mermaid with my Nuvo Aqua Shimmer pen, and this gives kind of silvery sparkle. Again, this is quite subtle, but it's more obvious sparkle than the shimmer spritz is in the background. And you could make your shimmer spritz stronger by putting more of the perfect pearls in it. I used some liquid glue to adhere my embellishment to the card base. You want to use a strong liquid glue or even something like glue dots for this. I then worked out where I would be placing my mermaid, and I added my glue on the anchor so that I could just press the mermaid directly down onto that. I'm using my reverse tweezers to help me get her positioned correctly, and then I put something heavy on top of that just whilst it dried, and that completes my mermaid card. As I said, this was a collaboration with Maaike, so if you haven't seen her video, there is a link to it down below and also up in the cards in the top right hand corner. I hope you enjoyed this video using Skull and Cross Buns products as well as a Lawn Fawn Mermaid. If you'd like to get any of the Skull and Cross Buns products, you can use the discount code DESIGNTEAM to save 10% on your order, and all the products I have used are linked down below. Please do like this video if you enjoyed it. You can subscribe to make sure you never miss a video, and press the bell button down below if you want to receive notifications every time I post a new video. There are a couple more videos on screen now that you may enjoy. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you next time. Bye!